Alright, what's going on guys, it's Res, and in this video we're going to be going over my next community build, and that is the Moze Infinity build. Now if you don't know, this is a series I do on my channel where I take your guys' suggestions in the comments and put them into a build. Now these suggestions can either be super powerful builds or just very unique and thematic builds, and as always, whichever one I choose will be given a shout out and full credit will go to you. So in this video we're going to be going over the Moze Infinity pistol build, and this was recommended by David T with a simple comment just saying a Moze Infinity pistol build. So David T, thank you very much for the suggestion. And honestly, going into this, I didn't think this was going to be a useful build. This was just going to be more on an interesting build, but it turns out this is actually very good. And David T, you honestly just made one of Moze's best builds in my opinion. Now, when you think of the Infinity pistol, obviously the gun has infinite ammo. On a character like Moze who has a whole skill tree about not using ammo, you really wouldn't want to pair those two together because Moze can pretty much make every gun in the game Infinity pistol. But with that being said, she also has some other skills that do work well with it, and I take full advantage of them in this build. And in my opinion, like I said, this build turned out to be very, very good. Now, is this Moze's best build in the game? Definitely not, but it is super fun, and I would highly recommend trying it out if you want to switch your playstyle up on her. As you see in some of these clips, I am just obliterating enemies without ever having to reload, and it's not even a splash damage weapon on her. So if that interests you, as always, these builds are located in my Discord channel if you'd like to download them. Link to the Discord will be in the description. If you're down to build, enjoy the video, find it helpful in any way, consider subscribing and dropping a like. It's free, it really helps me out, and I truly appreciate it. With all that, let's get right into this interesting build. Alright, so starting off here, as you see, we have a theme of corrosion going on right here, even with the skin on Moze herself. And the reason I'm going to say we're doing this is because of one of her new skills on her new skill tree, Harmless Havoc. So Moze gains increased gun damage for each weapon, shield, and grenade that matches the element of her gun. So since we're running all corrosion, that is going to be a 60% damage buff to corrosion, and as we all know, the Infinity pistol doesn't do a lot of damage, so we're trying to buff this thing's damage as much as we can, and this is a very strong way we're going to do it. Now, if you couldn't tell, obviously the main gun of this build is going to be the Infinity pistol. The other stuff I am literally just running to buff the damage in some cases. In other cases, like the back burner right here and the execute, they do have other interesting effects, but I'll get into that in a second. So the Infinity pistol we have with the Anoint, while under 50% health, you deal 150% bonus radiation damage. This is obviously a very good Anoint. Not only is this going to be good for just buffing the Infinity pistol's damage itself, on top of that, it's also going to be really good because if you don't know, Moze herself has very good incendiary damage focused skills. So this means we're going to have an Infinity pistol doing incendiary damage, corrosion damage, and we're going to have radiation damage. So we have three elements that are covering each of the main things in the game. Obviously, corrosion is really good against armor, incendiary is really good against flesh, and then if you didn't know, radiation actually is slightly better against shields, and then it's just normal against normal health. So we're covering everything, and our one Infinity pistol is going to be allowed to kill everything, and you'll never have to end up swapping to different elements. So that is pretty much all for the Infinity pistol. Obviously, it's just a gun that you're never going to have to reload either, which is also going to pair really, really well with some of her skills. Now, as I was saying with the back burner, the way we're going to use this is actually to proc our ASC anoints. If you don't know, if you have Iron Cup equipped, you can essentially use the back burner to just kill Iron Cup. As you see in the corner, it's actually going to do damage when I shoot it, and the Iron Cup will end up dying, and then you're going to proc all your ASC skills on top of proccing any other, skill that you have. So that's really good for that. On top of it, also giving you that bonus damage from Harmless Havoc. Now, when I'm at the execute, this can apply a debuff. If you don't know the way this works, essentially when the magazine is completely empty and you reload it, you apply a 50% debuff to that enemy. So if you ever need to apply debuffs, that's going to be really, really good for that. Then I have a Monarch right here. You can literally just run whatever corrosion weapon you want to, and that'll be good for that. Now, you don't need to do the ASC trick with this if you don't want to. So if you just want to run 3 other corrosion weapons, you can, because like I said, you also really don't need this debuff either. The main thing is just run a corrosion affinity with other corrosion. Now, for shield, we have a corrosion front loader with an accidentally get 50% bonus corrosion damage. Again, this is just really playing into it. You don't have to use this, but if you want to, I would definitely recommend it. Now, the front loader is actually going to reserve 60% of your max health, which is obviously going to be really good for our Anoint, because we're always going to have this Anoint proc to deal 150% bonus radiation damage. Now, for the grenade, we have a Hunter Seeker. On grenade 3, you do more weapon, grenade, and axe skill damage, which is also really, really good. Now, this is really just going to be used to heal you and also give you that extra damage bonus. If you want to run a different grenade to heal you more with some of her skills, you can, and you're just going to be missing out on the damage. But whatever you want to do. I personally just like running this just to heal a little bit and keep my damage up with Harmless Havoc. Now I have a Bloodletter class around here. If you don't know what this does, whenever you would normally just regenerate health or get health, you get shields instead. So you're never going to have health regeneration with this. You're only going to be focused on your shields. And since you're on the front loader, it's a very shield focused shield. So this is going to be very, very good paired together. So your survivability of this build is also going to be really, really good. As you see, this is also giving weapon damage, fire rate, and pistol damage. I would definitely recommend trying to get fire rate if you can. Now, Pearl of Enough Knowledge, this is really, really good as well, because since we're literally never going to stop shooting, we're going to have the stacking damage bonus that's going to give you a huge damage increase, and this is also giving you more fire rate and magazine size. I would definitely not recommend magazine size on this thing. If you're running the Infinity Pistol, go for something like health instead. And that is pretty much for all the gear of this build. Now getting into the skills that's really going to make this work are things like Big Surplus. So if you don't know what this does, whenever Moze axe skills cooling down, you're going to get 15% bonus gun damage as Incendiary. So the way I was just talking about killing your Iron Bear, you're gonna do that essentially with this skill as well. So if you ever need to get more damage, you can kill your Iron Bear with the back burner to get this proc. This also is really good for bossing. So whenever you go into a boss fight, make sure you proc Iron Bear first, kill the Iron Bear, then you're going to do a lot of damage to the boss. And that's how I'm melting Grave Ward with a corrosive Infinity Pistol. It's because of this skill right here. Now, I also have 2 points in Battlefield to get health regeneration for me and Iron Bear. This is just whatever. I'm just using it to get down to Harmless Havoc, which I've already went over. But then the next skill is Fired Up. So whenever Moze or Iron Bear applies a status effect to an enemy, she gains increased fire rate for a short time. So this is going to give you a nice fire rate bonus, because we're always going to be applying status effects. We're literally shooting 3 elements out at the same time, and this is pretty much always going to be max to give you a lot of fire rate. Now, for augment, I'm just running Baby Nuke. So whenever you do cast your Iron Cup, you're going to create an explosion, and then I'm also going to be running the nukes as well, so if it does stay alive, it can just shoot more nukes, and then when it dies, it also is going to release another nuke. So the Iron Club is literally just for proccing ASCs and nuking the whole battlefield, which is very, very fun. Now, speaking of explosions, Demolition Woman, 5 points of fire in the Skagden, so we get 15% bonus to center damage whenever we call splash damage. This is obviously one of Moze's best skills, and it's going to pair really well with Short Fuse, because this is going to let any of your guns cause splash damage, and since we're just shooting very fast with the Infinity Pistol, we're going to be causing explosions, which is in return going to start doing a lot of damage, which is very, very nice. And that's how we're getting the most damage out of the Infinity Pistol, if you were wondering. Now, we have 3 points of means destruction, so whenever we just call splash damage, we get a chance to return ammo and grenade. The main thing for this is obviously the grenade, because you don't need the ammo. 5 points in torque cross motion, so we increase our splash damage by 30% and have a 15% chance to double the splash damage radius, which is very, very nice. 5 points of stainless steel bear, so we get more maximum fuel, Iron Bear armor, and Iron Bear damage. This is just to make your Iron Cup a little bit more tankier. If it just needs something else to shoot at on the battlefield, this is very, very nice for that. 3 points to pull the Holy Pin, so our grenades have a chance to crit. This is really, really good as well. This is going to help that health generation, because your grenade is going to be doing more damage. Then 3 points in Vampire, so your grenades can heal you. So throwing a grenade is going to start healing your shields, which is very, very good. Then 1 point into the last, so whenever we die, we can throw a grenade and fight for your life. Then, like I already went over Short Fuse, all the weapons can now do explosive damage, which is really, really good for the Infinity Pistol. Now, Shield of Retribution, I actually have 5 points in armor and infantry, so when our shield's up, we get more gun damage and damage reduction. Very nice survivability and offensive skill. 5 points of Drown and Brass, so whenever we kill an enemy, we're going to get 20% more gun damage per stack, and this can stack up to 3 times. So this is going to allow your Infinity Pistol to do even more damage, which is really, really nice. Then 1 point Experimental Munitions, so whenever we get a crit, we're doing more incendiary damage. So if you ever come across a flesh target, make sure you're hitting your crits, so you're doing more damage to them. Now, as you see, we have 3 points in Desperate Measures and 2 in Phalanx Doctrine, and if you don't know the way this game actually works, even if you don't have skill points in these skills, you still get the benefits from the class mod. So theoretically, I actually have 3 out of 3 in Desperate Measures right here, which is giving you 50% bonus gun damage the lower your health is. So this is giving you a lot more damage, obviously, because I'm running the front loader, so it's reserving 60% of my max health. Then the Phalanx Doctrine is going to make it so whenever you get a kill, you get more gun damage and max shields. This is actually not too bad to have 2 points in, because this does not have a stack limit. So you're constantly, every time you get a kill, you're getting more gun damage and shields, which obviously is really, really good for survivability and damage. Then finally, in Bottomless Mags, 5 points in Cloud of Lead, so every 4 shots going to do incendiary damage. The not consuming ammo part doesn't matter, but more incendiary damage is obviously really, really good. Then to buff that, we have 3 points to Soak the Embers, so we get 30% more incendiary damage. This is incendiary damage from every aspect of the build, so that's really, really nice. 1 point Dock Bear, so our Iron Cup just does a little bit more damage, and we need to get down to the bottom. 1 point Redistribution, so this, obviously, the ammo regeneration is worthless, but when you go to crit, you're going to actually start regenerating your health, which is your shield. So between this and your other healing skills, your survivability on Moze is actually pretty decent. Then 5 points of Scorch and RPM, so we get 15% more fire rate and 20% more critical hit damage. Obviously, more fire rate from the Infinity Pistol is always nice. Then the crit damage is a nice added benefit on top of that. Plus, your Iron Cubs nukes are going to do a little bit more damage as well. Very, very good skill for 5 points, and it rounds this entire build out. Alright, so that is going to do it for the Moze Infinity build. If you ever wanted to play a build where the Infinity Pistol was your main weapon on Moze, this is 100% the build for you. And I honestly would highly recommend trying this out because it is super fun, and it's not too gear dependent. Yes, you do have to have the new skill trees, which kind of sucks, but I'm sure there are ways you could put those points elsewhere and still manage to make this build work. I would recommend putting them more in Shield of Retribution if you do not own the DLC, but if you do, obviously copy what I have in this video, and it should be just fine. Like I said in the beginning, this is a series that is driven by you guys, so if you have any recommendations, be sure to drop a comment. I try to read every single one of them, so just know you do have a chance to actually be featured in the next video. But that is going to do it all for this video, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.